Good morning, Cohen Hamilton. What a pleasure to speak to you today. In the days before COVID-19, I'm sure you were used to saying that you were going to school. Well, today I want to tell you about how school came to me. So let me explain. I am Michael Bell. My father was the Reverend W. Cranston Bell, and my mother Eileen Bell. I'm sure you recognize the name Bell as one of the four houses at Cohen Hamilton, and the name of a building at the school. Well, with all humility, I can tell you that that name was used to memorialize my father, and I feel very honored to see the family name recognized in that way. Let me give you a little background. My father and mother were missionaries from the Baptist Missionary Society of Great Britain. They came to Trinidad in 1956 and very soon moved to a house in Fifth Company Village. Their work was very much with the Baptist churches in South Trinidad. And of course, that brought them into contact with many children, particularly on the Moruga Road. They and some of the other Baptist leaders of the time recognized that one of the biggest needs of the families in the area, Baptists and all others alike, was the opportunity to continue education after primary school. So the Baptist church leadership decided to establish a secondary school. But where? They had no land, they had no building, they had almost no money, there was no support from the government at that time. Then my parents suggested that they could build a school under their house, my house. The house stood on stilts or pillars like many of your houses. So it was possible to build 2 classrooms, each for about 30 students, quite cheaply, right there under the house. So that's what happened. And that's what I mean by saying school came to me. I was just 9 years old at the time, but I got really excited watching the preparations for the opening. I remember watching the builders constructing the walls of the classrooms. I remember a truckload of desks and chairs arriving. I remember discussion about the uniform and how to keep it affordable. I heard the word curriculum and the word syllabus, though I didn't know what they meant at that time. And what I do remember also is the first day when the students arrived and a kind of buzz came from downstairs, a buzz of activity. A year later, in 1963, I was able to enter Form 1 in Cohen Hamilton School. At that time, Reverend Eric Payne was the principal. Later, my father became the principal. But by that time, I left to attend another school. But at least I can say that I personally knew 3 of the principals whose names are used for the houses: Reverend Payne, Reverend Parks, Reverend Bell. I never met Mr. London. And as they say, the rest is history. And by the way, there is a really good history of the start of the school on your website. Demand for the school service was enormous. The student body quickly doubled and doubled and doubled again. Within 2 years, Cohen Hamilton took over the upstairs of our house. Reverend and Mrs. Bell and I moved to another house adjacent to Fifth Company Primary School. Over the years, new building has taken place. In 1988, I came back with my own family to a visit. Work was underway on the building that would be named Bell Block. I believe it still has that name. Sadly, my parents were not able to travel at that time. Both passed away later that year, and as far as I know, didn't know about the naming of the school, of the block after them. In conclusion, it's a real honor to be speaking to you on the 60th anniversary of this outstanding school. It is up to us older folk to remind you of the origins of the school and to point to the legacy that is being created. But you are the living legacy of the school. You have the opportunity to create the future of the school, of Trinidad and Tobago, of yourselves. So please help me extend congratulations to everyone who has been part of getting to this 60th birthday. The staff, your principal, the board, you and your families. Some people like my father, whose name is preserved and recognized, but many, many more unnamed people who have given of their time and skills. All these have contributed to creating the successful and highly regarded school that Cohen-Hamilton has become. And here's an afterthought, an idea for a project. Do you think you could find one of the pioneer students, someone who attended that first day of school at Cohen-Hamilton in January 1962? Interview them and find out what were the benefits and challenges of having that new opportunity. And there's a hint. They would be about 70 years old, and maybe they have moved on, but I'm sure they have their origins somewhere on the Moruga Road. So for people, when they get to 60, they may begin to talk about retirement. Not for the school. For Cohen-Hamilton, life is only just beginning, and you are privileged to be part of it. I look forward to joining you online shortly in the service of Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, I can just say, happy birthday, Cohen-Hamilton Secondary School, and many, many happy returns.